Hey Eagles fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into the Eagles Report. And today, Philadelphia did not get a wide receiver in free agency. Yeah, they're looking at the draft, but could they still make a trade right now for some lesser-known wide receivers that you guys might enjoy on our Philadelphia Eagles squad? I'm going to give you 3 names the Eagles could go ahead and trade for right now. So thumbs up for this video. Also, thumbs up if you're stuck at home and you're bored out of your mind like I am. I'm trying to do as many Eagle Report videos as I can to keep you entertained, so thumbs up for that. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, so again, this all stems off the idea that Philadelphia still desperately needs a wide receiver. We know this. We talk about this all the time here on the channel. And so I was thinking, okay, we know they're going to probably draft somebody, but is that enough to be productive in 2020? Do we need to go ahead and trade for somebody? And I started to kind of tell myself, yeah, I think we should make one of these trades. So I started perusing all the different rosters in the NFL and seeing who maybe is near a contract or not getting a contract extension, the end of their contract, and who could be available for trade. And I came up with 3 names I think you guys are going to like. We'll start with Jacksonville's Dede Westbrook, who is entering the final year of his deal. He's a solid slot receiver for the Jaguars, can also do some kick cover or kick return and punt return as well. And even with the limited quarterbacks that have been in Jacksonville, not named Nick Foles, the Gardner Minshews of the world, he's still been very, very productive in terms of his Jaguars career coming out of Oklahoma. His cap hit in 2020 is super cheap too. $2.3 million is the cap hit. This is a guy who could come in and kind of take over the Nelson Agholor role after Agholor left for the Raiders, and to me, be way better than Nelson Agholor as well. He's still young. He's less than 30. It'd be very, very cheap to go ahead and trade for him. No more than a 3rd or 4th round draft pick, and even with drafting somebody at number 21 overall to play wide receiver, you pair that with Deshaun Jackson, Greg Ward, Dede Westbrook, Alshon if he's there, the wide receiver core gets a lot better if you go ahead and make this trade. I really like the idea of Dede Westbrook. He's probably the 2nd cheapest guy in terms of what you would have to give up on my list, but he's a guy I think that, you know, the Eagles have connections with Jacksonville. You obviously trade Nick Foles there. I know Foles is now in Chicago, but the connections are still there with John DeFilippo. I think this would make a lot of sense and be a very possible trade for Philadelphia to go ahead and do Dede Westbrook to Philadelphia for a 4th, maybe a 5th round draft pick from the Jaguars. Final year of his deal. If he plays great, you give him a contract extension. If he does not, and you let him go, and all you gave up was a 4th or 5th round draft pick, which Philadelphia has, 3 4th round draft picks this year, so they would be just fine. Number 2 on this list. And actually, before we keep going, I want you guys to go ahead and let me know out of this list who you guys want me to go ahead, or who you would want the Eagles to go ahead and trade for. Would you want them to trade for anybody? Let me know in the comment section down below. Number 2 on this list would be a massive get for the Philadelphia Eagles. A huge get for Philadelphia if they were able to pull it off. It's Kenny Golladay of the Detroit Lions, who is one of the most underrated wide receivers in the National Football League. He's entering the final year of his deal. He is only 26 years old, and he's had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons and has caught 16 touchdowns the past 2 years without Matt Stafford last year. Stafford was injured with the back for the majority of 2019. It's a guy, again, stuck in Detroit, probably does not want to be in Detroit long-term. Detroit's probably doing a total rebuild. They might go ahead and draft a quarterback. They might trade Matt Stafford. Who knows? Maybe the Patriots. I don't know what's going to happen. But Golladay is a guy who I would argue would love to come play for Philadelphia and Carson Wentz and play for a winner for once, because Detroit, as we all know, thank the Lord, we are not Detroit fans because of how much the Lions have struggled over the past couple of years. Galladay's been great. He's been great whenever Stafford's been in there. I think would be great for the Eagles with Carson Wentz as well. Again, you're thinking about pairing him on the outside with Deshaun Jackson. You're pairing him alongside maybe Alshon Jeffery. You know, it's still kind of up and down what's going to happen there. A rookie wide receiver at number 21, Henry Ruggs, T. Higgins, whatever you want to say. Greg Ward, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. This, to me, is the trade Philadelphia needs to do. Now, what's going to be the cost, right? You got to think about cost. He's not a first-round wide receiver, and again, you say, well, DeAndre Hopkins was traded for a bag of chips and David Johnson. Not all trades are going to be as dumb as Bill O'Brien trading DeAndre Hopkins. I could still see the Eagles getting Kenny Golladay for a 3rd-round draft pick, maybe a 2nd. Although Detroit's defensive back coach is now, or the Eagles' former defensive back coach is now in Detroit. Maybe you go ahead and package like Sidney Jones and a 4th and ship it off for Kenny Golladay. I'd be 100% okay with that, despite the reports out of Philadelphia this week that Sidney Jones is going to be great this year, and that he's had a great offseason. He's been working hard, blah, blah, blah. I don't trust Sidney Jones. I don't know about you guys. Do you guys trust Sidney Jones? Comment down below. I'm curious if anyone out there actually trusts cornerback Sidney Jones. But I think you could get Golladay for a 3rd straight up, Or if you wanted to package a cornerback like Sidney Jones in a 4th or a 5th, that to me is still a home run deal for the Philadelphia Eagles. And again, entering the final year of his contract, you could go ahead, let him play it out. If he plays great, he balls out like he did the past 2 years, you go ahead and sign him to a long-term deal, and you have a great receiver for the upcoming, 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it's going to be overall. But the fact that Detroit has not been able to sign him yet probably means they would be okay with going ahead and trading him away, because they're not going to sign him on a long-term deal, because Detroit has the 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft. They might take Tua. They might take a quarterback. If they do take a quarterback, do you want to go ahead and pay a wide receiver to pair with him? Probably, but if they just keep Matt Stafford and they're trying to go ahead and tank next year for Trevor Lawrence, who knows? You could go ahead and get rid of Kenny Golladay. The final player on this list, and this one is a name that not many people know because no one watched this team last year because they were the worst team in the National Football League. It's Auden Tate from the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Tate, it's not Golden Tate, it's Auden Tate from Cincinnati, 6'5", 22 years old. He ran a 4.42 in 2018 out of LSU at the NFL Combine, still very, very young, and was very, very productive last year. Had 500 yards in receiving, but had a season-ending knee injury that's not serious. It's not a blown-out ACL, but still is a low-risk, high-reward option for Philadelphia. You could probably get Tate away from the Bengals for very, very cheap, like a 5th or a 4th round draft pick. And if you're Cincinnati, you're going to go ahead and draft Joe Burrow, most likely. I mean, well, assuming them to go ahead and take Joe Burrow. And you got A.J. Green on a franchise tag, and so do you need another wide receiver for him? Could you draft a wide receiver this year? I think Tate would make a lot of sense for the Eagles as well. Again, low risk, high reward. The season was cut short due to that knee injury, although everything I did my research on says it's not a serious knee injury, so there's no concern in terms of, oh my goodness, is he going to re-injure his ACL? Well, probably not. He should be good to go. That 4.42 at 6'5" and 22 years old is very, very intriguing for Philadelphia. Again, the whole point of this video is coming up with some ideas at wide receiver, because as we know, Philadelphia did nothing in free agency to address the offensive side of the football. They lost people. They lost Jordan Howard, and they lost Nelson Agholor. Now, both of those are not massive hits. I would have liked to have kept. Jordan Howard, Nelson Agholor, I'm fine with leaving, but you now have a major hole on the outside, as we've known for a long time the Eagles were going to have. Alshon Jeffery is still not healthy. Alshon Jeffery might get healthy, and then you might trade him, right? And if you trade him, then you have Deshaun Jackson, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, who was garbage last year, and Greg Ward, who was a practice squad wide receiver until the final few games of the NFL season. We've got to get wide receivers, and one in the NFL draft is not enough. Let me say that again. One at number 21 in the NFL draft is not enough. I've said all along, I will preach this till the cows come home. You've got to get 2 wide receivers in this draft. I was talking to my roommate, Will, who's a massive Eagles fan, and he was telling me, he's like, Thomas, you got to keep telling these guys, you need to get 2, not 1. You've got to be able to go ahead and get 2 wide receivers, and I agree with him there, as he's a big Eagles Report fan. He's subscribed, as you guys should be subscribed as well, as we're the fastest growing Eagles channel here on YouTube, approaching 7,000 subs. But the whole point of this video is to give options for Philadelphia to find a way to get that second wide receiver. Now, as we've talked about, you could draft someone at number 21 overall. You could draft somebody in the second round with at wide receiver and get 2 wide receivers there. But the fear is that your second wide receiver you take might take a couple of years to go ahead and get his NFL sea legs, ready to go. So you could trade for one of these guys, a Golladay, a Dede Westbrook. They have been able to be productive. They've proven to be productive early on in their careers. They've been able to navigate the National Football League and show that they can be viable wide receiver targets here for the Philadelphia Eagles. So, trading for one of them, would you guys do it? I want to hear from you guys. I would do it. Westbrook, Golladay, and Tate, to me, all make a lot of sense. I did the research on this. All of them check out. All of them were productive last year. And to me, all of them would be a great option for Philadelphia to go ahead and grab. Did I miss somebody? I'm trying to think if I missed anybody. I know that San Francisco could be trading Dante Pettis, but Dante Pettis wasn't even good last year, and I wanted to get you guys names, not just guys who, well, they were bad last year, and so you could trade for them, and then with Carson Wentz, they could be good. No, I want guys who were good last year, regardless of their quarterback, who will come in and be even better, because obviously Philadelphia is one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League in Carson Wentz. So, all the time we have for today. Hopefully you guys are staying safe. Be sure to thumbs up this video, of course, if you want to get an extra wide receiver. Thumbs up in general for working from home, as we all are, right? I mean, we're sitting on our butts, bored out of our minds, but at least we have Eagle Report videos, trying to drop at least 4 to 5 every single week. But, we'll kind of see how that goes. We'll do a live Q&A probably this weekend, so be subscribed and be ready to go for that. That way you can answer questions, and I'll answer all of y'all's questions over the coming days on a live Q&A. It should be a lot of fun. All the time we have for today. For the Eagles Report, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Did you like that video? Thanks for watching, but why don't you click this video right here, because we did it just a couple of days ago, and guess what? It's about the Eagles too. Like that video? Why don't you subscribe right down here? That way you're notified whenever we release more videos here on the Eagles Report. It's the fastest growing Eagles channel here on YouTube. Video, subscribe, click them right now. Go ahead, click them.